cosmetic surgery. We're going to talk about cosmetic surgery, and we're not going to talk about hair implants or breast enlargements or anything like that. We're talking about cosmetic surgery for cars. So we are down here at HV Wrapping. So right, we are going to have a look at some of the wrapping they have done on vehicles, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of wrapping. And you'll notice we've got the Stig here. So we are going to look, do we wrap the Stig? Why would we do it? What are the risks? What are the disadvantages of wrapping? Right, it's starting to rain in here, rain out here. Let's go inside and have a talk about the pros and cons. Let's start with the pros, like why would you get a vehicle wrapped? And in fact, while we're outside, let's have a look. So this is Paul, the boss, one of the bosses here. This is his car, and he's had that wrapped in a matte finish. So one of the things you can do with a PPF film, a paint protection film, or another vinyl film, is you can change the look of your car. And they did use PPF on the Carpathian V8. They took the normal car and put the matte finish to give you some protection. Now, PPF is self-healing. Now, the coloured films tend not to be self-healing. But let's have a look here at this BMW that's been wrapped, and it's had a sort of two-stage thing done to it just to sort of change it and personalise it. So rather than changing the colour, it's changed the whole look of the car by selectively changing certain aspects. Right, let's go into the workshop and take a look. Right, so let's talk about colour change. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to compare wrapping to painting. So let's have a look at this Tesla that's in the workshop at the moment. Now, this has got some crazy sort of flip. Now, obviously, you can do this effect with paint, but it's really hard and really expensive. So they've got some really cool films now. So this isn't a paint protection film. So this will have limited self-healing abilities, but it will protect your car from damage and chips to a certain extent, but not as much as a clear PPF film. But look at the colour on this. I don't know how it comes out on the camera, but as you go to different angles, this is the same film, but the angle you view it at, it changes from gold to red. So you can really make your car look quite individual. Now, let's talk about protection. Where it does offer some protection, let's look at some of the motorbikes they've done here. Now, this is quite an interesting finish on this tank. So obviously, as you're riding a motorbike, your trousers and whatever can rub against the tank. So they've covered this tank, which was normally just a matte black colour, with this sparkly green film. So that's offering a degree of protection. And obviously, one big advantage of wrapping over painting is you can remove the wrap. Now, it doesn't just peel off instantly, you've got to work some heat, but it is reversible. So that's the pros and cons. So, and when you take it off, the car is like new. So if you've got a new motorbike like this, you can have it looking, and that's the thing, I think, it's the personalization. The wrap allows you to make something quite individual. If you think about the Defender, Land Rover make them in a selection of colours, but part of the Land Rover Defender thing is making the car your own, making it the way you want it to look, whether that's with external accessories or different wheels or bigger wheels. But also the paint and the finish could be part of that and making your car look unique. Now, one thing that is really cool, when you've put a vinyl wrap or a PPF film on, the surface of the film is hydrophobic, it repels water. So actually your car will look cleaner more of the time. When it rains and you get, the water will just run off. So it's sort of a lower maintenance, and also then there's less, because normally the rain has grit and everything and it can degrade your paintwork when you wash it off. But the advantage of a film is it protects it and it makes your car look cleaner more of the time. Right, so one thing obviously is cost, which is kind of a disadvantage in that wrapping costs money, obviously, but it is cheaper than painting. Generally, it's cheaper than painting a car, and it's quicker than painting. So you can have your car turned around in a couple of days and it'll look like a new car. And it's also cheaper than buying a new car. You can fall in love with a car again, just get it wrapped, get a new color, and that's cheaper than buying a new car. So that pretty much sums up the advantages. And obviously for some companies, having their vehicles look the same, look unique, it's a brand identity, and that's easily achievable with wrap. So let's look at some of the disadvantages with wrapping. Well, we've already said it costs money. So like my Defender, you know, whether we should wrap that, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. And it doesn't last forever. Films are getting better, and if you get it properly applied, they will last. They're saying up to 9 years for some films now. They don't last forever, so paintwork does last longer and is durable. The one thing about our new Defender, apparently it's got the hardest paint on a production car. Land Rover invested a lot of money. And I've got to be honest, I am blown away by how scratch resistant the paint on the Defender is. If you look, I'll put a clip of us going down Spicy Lane and you can hear it going down the side of the car. And this is gonna be super scratchy. Oh, this is gonna be horrible. It's coming in my car. Oh, that is a big old brung. Why did I volunteer to do this? Oh. And I got out and I thought the car would be like, ah, but it's unbelievably hard. That paint on the Defender is awesome. Now, I don't know how good a film would be in that situation. So if we decide to wrap the Stig, maybe we should take it down off-roading again and see, you know, when you've got that twig going down the side of the car, what does it do? How does it affect the film? Does it scratch it? What are its self-healing abilities and stuff? So that's pretty much the downsides of the film. You might get some unwanted attention if you do it bright pink or bright green or something, but obviously that's kind of what you're looking to do anyway. And also, when you open the door shuts, it's not painting, it's not designed to be painting. So when you open the door shuts, often the wrap is not covered. You can wrap all the stuff, but it is a film, so there will always be some joins somewhere. So that is one disadvantage of wrapping over painting. Some people will always consider it to be, well, it's a shortcut, it's not real painting. But as we discussed in the pros, it's different, and there are pros and cons with each way. So let's now talk about the risks. Right, so one thing we talk about is risks. So the risk is the type of film you use. If you buy a cheap, non-branded film, then the chances are it's not going to be very good. It's going to start lifting, you'll get bubbles over it. I think Craig at Camtech had an Audi TT done once, and he had to have it all come off. It all just bubbled and blistered and stuff. So there are obviously new companies coming on all the time. So I would recommend using a reliable, trusted, established brand. Then there's also the risk of how it's applied. So obviously we'll do another video on this, but it's got to be cleaned, the surface has got to be prepped, or it's not going to, you can't just stick film on a dirty surface and expect it to last forever. It's not going to happen. And also, when you apply it, like on this car, on this Tesla, they've removed these trims and made sure the film goes past it, where some places they'll cover the film and just run a knife round so it looks good. But the edge of the film is always here and the water's going to get in, it's going to be exposed. You want to really tuck the edges, fold them round. So there's a risk of who you get to do your wrapping, the experience you've got, the style they got, and also the equipment. So we'll do a video of what to look for with when you're going somewhere. We'll pop upstairs now and we'll have a look at we'll see if we can get one of the guys here to show us the CAD software that they use to cut the panels. Right, so the other thing you need to look at is when you're getting somewhere is if they invested in the equipment. So one thing is the plotter. Now this isn't used for the vinyl, the coloured vinyls, but it's used for the PPF. And we'll pop and show you what a plotter looks like and the software where the panels are all pre-cut the designs are done. But that only applies to PPF, so you can put the panels on the car. Now, one risk is that having your car wrapped will damage it. Now, if you're doing something like this, you could put a knife and cut it to create this, but that risks damaging your underlying paintwork. Now, one day you're going to unwrap the car. You don't want to buy a car that's been wrapped or unwrap your car and find out there's little knife marks. And what they use now at a professional place is this sort of knifeless cutting tape stuff, and what you do is you stick that on the car and it's got a very thin wire in it, and you lay the vinyl on top, and as you pull it off it cuts the vinyl, but by cutting away from the car, not cutting into the car. So there are risks with having your car wrapped in terms of the materials you use and the skill level it's done with. But do your homework, check out the place you're going, read their reviews, look at their work. And also some websites out there are putting pictures of cars that they haven't done. So check the pictures of cars they're doing are outside their premises, because otherwise they're just grabbing pictures of painted cars and saying, look at the brilliant wrap we did on this. Right, we need to talk about the Stig. So do we wrap the Stig? Now, I love the Stig. And actually, we're really attached to him, and the white and black works really well. But on this channel, we like to do different stuff. We like to try things on our car, and then maybe it'll inspire you to do something. So we are going to get the Stig wrap. Now, I also ought to declare that I've actually got a slight interest in this, because this HV Wrap is renting this unit. This used to be our old warehouse and workshop, and we did redo it all, and we were going to make it a YouTube studio, but plans have changed. So those guys are renting it. So I do also have a slight interest in them being successful. So they are going to wrap the Stig. Now, what color are we going to go for? Yeah, well, I've chosen a color. And actually, I saw the color, and I was like, oh, someone sent me an email. We buy the vinyl films for the bonnet graphics. And the company sent me an email, oh, here's the latest color we've released. And I was like, oh, that would look really good on a Defender. So let's do it on the Stig. Although Mrs. Powerful was rather attached to the white Stig. She's like, oh, it's like, he's white, he's iconic. So we are going to change it, but what color we're going to change it to, we are not going to reveal. We will do another video where we do the series of stages to the wrap, and we'll come and watch the guys here and just do little snippets, because they don't want us watching them do the whole thing of the stage. So we'll look at the cleaning, the prep, and we'll go stage by stage through the car. But we are going to release, before we release the video and show you the colour, we are going to go to the Gaydon show, which is on the bank holiday weekend at the start of May. We are going to go there, and we are going to reveal the wrapped Stig at that show. So if you want to see what it looks like, come to the show, come and say hi to us, come and look at the wrapping, look at the details, look at how it's done, and let us know your comments when we put that video up. Right, are we done, Ben? Plotter, right, join us in the plotter room. So let's all, we're up there, we've got the plotter over there, we've got the computer here. So we've just dialed into this software that we want to put PPF film on a Defender. And look, they've got the file there already for us just to cut out. And it's got the bonnet, it's even got the cutout for the graphic, the A-pillars, the roof. We've got the doors, even got the lower door cladding, you've got your signature panels, fuel flap, and they've even got some of the interior bits as well. They've even got the screen and other interior bits. Look, the full front apron. So you can see that that's all cut. They've sort of made the 3D shape into a 2D shape. And you can load the PPF film straight onto the cutter over here, and then just whoop, and it'll all cut out, and then you can get it onto the table and cut that all out. So there we go, that's our little introduction to HV wrapping. We are getting the Stig wrapped, as we already said, so keep watching and let's see what the Stig transformation looks like. Right, so there you go. I feel sad in a way. That's the last time we're going to see the white Stig for at least a couple of years, and I've loved the white Stig. We've done a lot together, Stig, but let's have a look. Your new lease of life, a little nip and a tuck, and we'll see what it looks like. So there you go, that is the last you'll see of the white Stig for a while.